I'm trying to see if we're live. Let me see. Oh, we're live. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a LinkedIn Live special. My name is Omar, host of Zoom Party. We have a special guest today, Ivan. I will introduce him in a second. This is actually my fourth live that I'm doing today, and it's going to be excited. We're going to be here about 30 minutes, 35 minutes talking about social media and our times, and it's going to be an interesting program. Hopefully, we will get some insight from our guest today. This is, I believe, the first time he's been doing a LinkedIn Live, and next Friday as well, same time, we'll be doing another LinkedIn Live with a young lady who has some good ideas. Coaching and all that will be with her next week. So, all right, let me go ahead and bring in our guest. His name is Ivan. He is waiting. We're going to fly to Europe. He is in Bosnia. Let's bring him on our show. Here we go. Mr. Ivan Perkovic, welcome to LinkedIn Live with your host, Omar from Zuberty. How are you, sir?
Hey everybody, nice to see you all, and I want to greet everyone watching this. And I must thank Omar for this fantastic opportunity. I'm always happy to speak with good friends, and
Awesome.
it's been hot here in Bosnia, to be honest.
Wow, it's hot everywhere now. I think it is hot in
Yeah.
Arizona, but definitely we have already a few people joining us here. Kelly and Sri, thank you for coming. Sri, some good friends here. All right, so today's topic: social media and our times. Right?
Yeah,
What do you think of that when you think of the word social media? What is the first thing that comes in your mind? Is it
humans.
a scary word? Is it? Give us your insights, Mr. Ivan.
Yeah, sure. Well, when I think about social media, it's the way to people to connect with each other, And the first thing that comes in my mind is actually humans, like literally humans, because social media is because of our needs to connect globally, and it's a great way to connect with friends from all around the world. No, that's it,
Absolutely, yeah.
basically.
Social media definitely a good way to connect with people. It does give us the disconnect, right,
Yeah.
where we don't get to see them in person, which we enjoyed. I was thankful that in high school and college I was able to do the outing with
Mhm.
people. And Matt is there. Hello, Matt. Good to see you. He's a great guy. Yep, those are good points, Mr. Ivan. So I know you're kind of younger than me a bit, not too much, but you probably grew up with social media present. How old were you, and how did you
Mm.
utilize it in the beginning? Was your family open to it?
To be honest, yeah, that's a great question. Well, first, a little bit of background for my context, at least, since I live in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and in post-war period. And yeah, I was born in 1995. So yeah, the first time I actually had opportunity to connect on social media and on the internet globally, on global internet, it was actually when I was in elementary school. However, we didn't have access to smartphones then back then. Like it was maybe 2004, 2005, the
Oh
first
wow!
time that iPod appeared, And my Facebook account is from 2008 or 9. So that's the first time I connected to the internet and social media because of friends from class. And my family was open to it, to be honest, because I was always exposed to technology, and I come from art family as well. So in that context, we always had need to connect with people and friends from all around globe, especially after the post-war period.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's excellent. That is very awesome. So you were actually what about 10 or so, right? Or
Yeah.
5 or 6? You were kind of young, right? Exactly.
Alert! I didn't read terms of services.
You didn't read that. The manual didn't come to you. Absolutely. So, I mean, for me, I was probably in seventh grade when the internet started coming out, right? So I was at that age, in almost high school kind of thing. And then we went to college. That's when we started getting cell phones and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I didn't grow up having that. But then social media came to be kind of a popular thing with everybody, right? Everybody started, it got spread away, spread out everywhere, right?
Yes.
And it's for some of it is good, some of it is bad, right? What do you think some positive aspects of social media are? I know in the
Mhm.
beginning you mentioned stuff about connecting with people,
Yes. Well, one of the main points I would underline is for positive aspects is definitely access to information, because there is a lot of opportunity to read various different opinions and perspectives, which is for my context and my upbringing and generally thinking about stuff that is happening around us and within us as well. I think that social media is fantastic opportunity to have various perspectives, which is also a danger as well. So this, I would say that the same thing is fantastic and it can be really disastrous. Depends how you utilize it. And in that context, I'm happy to use social media. Like I'm on almost every social media. I don't use it regularly, but I do connect with a lot of friends on Facebook and Instagram, etc., etc. Those regular ones, and I follow some great artists. It's the media part of it is really important for artists in general because we have access to various different areas of expertise and webinars and contacts that aren't regularly available through traditional education. It's fantastic for educating yourself and your close friends and family and pupils as
Hey,
well.
yeah, I agree. There's a lot of stuff on social media that will help you out in terms of learning stuff.
Yes, yes,
In terms that you didn't know. I mean, it's a fast way to bring out information for people because everybody's on their phone, on their YouTube or whatever it is, and it's quick to do that, right? So that's very awesome. What are some negative aspects of social media? I mean, that's something that can go on for hours and hours for that talk. But I mean,
literally.
positive is what we need to talk more about. But we also have to acknowledge the negative part about it, right?
Absolutely.
And what aspects you can do to prevent that and go
Mhm.
through that. So perfect. Go ahead.
Well, it's actually one of the things since I work at elementary school with currently with kids from ages 6 till 14, more or less. And what I saw throughout the last 4 or 5 years is that the kids are really, really exposed in generational sense between themselves. So not in broader sense. Between us, I mean, in class or in a close circle of friends, they are exposed to cyberbullying between themselves. Why I'm underlining that is because the context of my work is I do individual classes of piano teaching, and kids open up, and you notice various stuff. And apart from cyberbullying, the first thing is overload of information. And I think the most negative thing about all of the social media and access to anything that is digital is actually overload of information and that is so broadly available, and there aren't really mechanisms to forbid use of social media, especially with the young kids. It is up to parents, but also to us teachers and to whole system of education to teach kids how to utilize social media and what is okay and what is not okay. And I'm strong advocate for the human rights in that context because uh, if something is wrong in physical world, it should be wrong in digital world as well, because bullying is bullying, whatever it is. And in mental context and health of kids, it's really something that the future is has, and us, all of us that have opportunity to work with kids, we really need to focus on mental health of kids and how they utilize overload information. And I jokingly sometimes say that these kids are 3 second generation because video, you scroll up with the thumb and there is next video,
Yeah.
and it goes on and on forever, like, and
Oh
they
yes,
attention span.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think those are the most dangerous things for every generation, but especially kids. And they,
Exactly. I mean, I come to the point where I was actually teaching a student of mine, and he happened to be in India or the Middle East somewhere in that part. And one of the times I was messaging him, and then I noticed that he was happened to be on one of the, and it's like 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning his time. I'm like, he's the 12-year-old. He should not be on his phone message or texting if it's a teacher or anything. There should be limitations And I
Yes.
think part of that is part of the parents' fault, right? The parents are giving him access, and then one of the times I was with him, I was like, "What did you do all day?" Oh, I played video games up to our session, and I had a conversation with the parents, right? And parents like, "No, I think we should definitely limit the amount of video games for him so he can expose better." And when I'm noticing in the sessions, he's not really focused on that, and it's
Mhm.
very a sad reality. It's good to have, but have a balance, right? Try to balance it. Like you have, for example, 8 hours of sleep, eight
Yeah.
hours of work, maybe, and then an 8 hours of rec time outside doing some activities, biking, whatever. You
Yes,
balance
yes.
it out, right? In that case, not all the time, 10 hours on your devices, which you got to do that. Kelly has some good advice here. Let's read it. Do you mind reading it, Mr. Ivan? Kelly, right at the top. Can
Kelly,
you see?
wait, let me see on the right side. Okay, social media can be very dangerous for children. They are being targeted not just by each other. You're so right. Parents need to be involved. Yeah, thank you, Kelly. Well, it is a process, definitely. And in that context, like, there isn't a magic wand to fix it all. That's why I think, which is maybe counterintuitive in the sense that technology should be available to everybody at all times. That's the moment where we can actually see the real utilizing of it and how we can focus for the positive stuff and interconnect with nature. That's something I love teaching my students as well, because in context of music and vibration and everything that is are all around us, is so accessible to everybody these days, and it's going to be more accessible with all exponential technologies happening and disruptive technologies as well. But then again, as you fantastically mentioned, the balance is something that we all aspire to do in our everyday life, or in like cycles of projects we are doing, or the mindset we are having, like the summer, autumn, winter, and spring. It's all the cycles. However, yeah, I should say here that not everybody is the same in that context. Me personally, I do love to work a lot. I'm a workaholic. My friends, family know that. However, but when I ease out, I really, literally don't do anything except have fun with the nature, go on a hike, go with my friends, and I do nothing for at least a month every year, except when it's like different contexts when I have to do it, because I need to recharge my batteries. And that's one of the things that we all generations need to learn, to ease out and just breathe, be aware of our mind, of our body and our surroundings.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. And me and you both coming back from that background of the Balkans, originally, and so we have the same
Passionate people.
mentality of the of working hard and also having the stubborn mentality of wanting to be able to do our best. I'm sure both of us can relate in terms of if there's a task done and we're not really doing it right, we have to do it that way. And so that's why with social media and stuff, it's a good aspect, but you also have to have a discipline with it, right? So a lot of the
Yes.
points you said are excellent. They're very good. And we really need to focus on helping the future generation. And I do like your point because you're a little bit younger than me, not much younger than me, but I mean, you grew up when social media was there. I grew up when it was Nintendo and there was just TVs and stuff like that. I was born in the '80s, so it's kind
I
of
hit Nintendo, I must say. Sorry for interrupting.
go ahead.
Things were a little bit late here, but yeah, exposed to technology.
Exactly. Yeah, it was kind of tiny, and then from there it grew up and then exploded. I mean, there are definitely good and bad sides to it, like we talked about, and it's a topic that's going to keep on going forever and
Yes.
ever. But it's fascinating how it grows. I mean, in the beginning, if you could even go to the aspect of phone calling, right? They had just a regular phone with a wire, and
Yes,
from
yes.
there it changed to wireless. People were like, "Oh, what is a wireless telephone? What? How is that gonna work? Are we gonna able to take it out?" And then from there, you had apps and stuff, and then
Mhm.
after that, nobody expected the internet is actually going to be on a phone, a device. You can carry the internet with you and search for any
Exactly.
device, anywhere you want, anytime at the click of the button, which is kind of convenient. And I'm the kind of person who likes to learn stuff. For example, I mean, yesterday, everybody's aware of that Titanic thing where there was, of course,
Yes.
people who went down. So it made me curious about the Titanic, and I'm sure a lot of people. So I researched it. I kind of watched the movie a bit, and
Never
yesterday
watched it, I must confess. Like,
you have not watched it. Okay,
I haven't, except the memes, you know.
that means so. And Mr. Allen is saying he is much younger than you. Much younger. He's probably that's we always like Matt. He's the kudos guy. And by the way, I'm gonna be doing.
I'm
We're
not.
teaming up with him to do the Zoom birdie. We did episode 1, episode 2 this Sunday, 3, 4, and 5, and the finale. So I'll be meeting with him later, and with some surprises will be there. And maybe, Mr. Allen, we'd like to have Ivan participate if you can. He's going to participate one of these Sundays. We'll see if he can. He
Absolutely, yes.
wants to participate. That'll be good. So that's awesome. But yeah, absolutely. Anything else that you can think of, Mr. Ivan, regarding?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, while you were going down your memory lane with accessibility to technology, I remember that the first cell phone that came out here was absolutely Nokia 3310, like the most famous model of all times, I think so.
Yeah.
And I remember in the music school, the option to make your music ringtone actually was something we all experimented for hours here. You know, like my generation of colleagues that were born in 94, 95, 96.
Yeah.
We love to experiment and to see. We competed with each other how we are gonna utilize that technology in our everyday life. You know. And in that context, I remember after that, the Motorola model that you can, you know which one I mean, the first one with infrared, I think so. We're all out of this world to see that you can transfer files between and pictures. It was something that we couldn't even think so. And fast forward to this day, I'm happy to say that technological advances are so accessible to everyone who wants to have access. And that is actually a good thing because the people that know how to utilize technologies and love their job, and my luck is that my job is actually my hobby for whole life. I play piano, I educate people as I can, and I do international projects and a little bit of cultural diplomacy as well in recent years for the Western Balkans. But that's what the technology helped and the social media helps. So definitely the future of social media is already global. The future is now, but diplomacy, global diplomacy, diplomatic context with youth involved, and the way we can interconnect with each other is fantastic, you know, and that's what the futures of education should be focused on, how to connect with each other and to really show that we are people, human to human connections. That's a beautiful thing. And you know, and mobility of artists as well, which brings me to second point. Sorry for taking your stage here.
No worries. Take your time.
Status of artists and art. What is art? Because I was practicing before this podcast, let's say, or live LinkedIn Live, and I was thinking, oh my God, what is art? And there is no one answer. Art is creativity. Art is innovation. Art is something that humans are able to do, you know. In our language, in Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, and all similar dialects, there is a word umijeće, you know that probably. How to do something, and that is art. Being able to do something creative with creativity, and to go back to status of artists in general sense, and artistic freedom with that sense. Social media can hurt a lot of people. You know, I'm not just saying about bullying, disinformation as well. Journalism is an art in that sense, and democratization of social media like this wasn't possible maybe 10 years ago. It was unthinkable to two people in different time zones. Like we are 7 hours, right? Time difference, I think so. It wasn't a common thing, and these days it's becoming a common thing, and that's the beautiful part of it. And in that context, for the status of artists I mentioned, these days everybody is thinking what art is, what brings it value. And I believe this year is a tipping point for all the artists in the global world to see our past mistakes of it and how we utilize, because social media, you know, when radio appeared in context of actual piece of equipment, people thought it's the end of the world, you know. Then machines for the agriculture appeared, and people also thought, oh my God, what are we going to do with the jobs? Then television, then internet, then this fourth revolution that is these days fast forwarding and accelerating. And I already see that we are close to literally be immersed with the old technologies, because our cell phones are extensions of ourselves, especially with when we are doing the meetings, we are doing this and that. And how I see the status of artists there, you know, what is artistic freedom? Because the way we speak, it can be a piece of art, state of the art technology, state of the art building, state of the art design. It's everything is an art. And in the
Exactly.
future, I think that for really have equal opportunities and mobility and peace of mind in a broader sense, we need to think about this stuff and how to accelerate the talk about art. Because if we are the slaves of technology, we are losing our humanity. You know.
That's true, yeah. And when you mentioned art, it's kind of interesting. My great uncle, which is my grandfather's brother, he used to say art to you is everything. He was an artist, right? He studied in Bulgaria and stuff like that. And so whatever
That's cool.
in your mind is art is that. And so social media is kind of an art, right? So
It
when
is.
you kind of are visualizing it in a way, and it's always evolving in better and better in a way
Mhm.
to help you out. You have to limit it and find a way to be able to uh, put it together in a way where it's helpful, beneficial, but not mentally hurting you
Mhm.
or emotionally, that kind of thing. So
Exactly.
social media is definitely an art, and you you look at it and you create it, and it's absolutely a beautiful thing. And where do you see? I mean, we're almost probably about 10 minutes here. We don't want to do a long one. This is a
Time
topic that
flies
we
by,
love.
in it.
It's interesting. It definitely is. Yeah, we're so happy for all the people. Even let's see, Kerry, a good friend of mine. I've met him a couple of times. He's always sending jokes here, right? On Monday of the week to Chian's Hide on Friday.
Friday.
Happened to be Friday today, so he's an excellent guy.
Semantics, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm so glad he was able to come in here. And we'll get more comments later, and we'll comment on those. But
Of
where do
course.
you see future? I'll comment on this a bit, and then have you. So I think for the future of technology,
Mhm.
we're seeing it evolving, and then I think in the future we'll be able to beam ourselves from one place to one place and have
Mhm.
meetings and stuff like that. And in fact, also as well, we can travel faster. There might be other trains or other modes, but in terms of social media,
Mhm.
how would that change? I mean, we probably can't imagine what it's going to be, because what we thought about a decade ago is different than what we think now. We would never assume this would happen, kind of thing. It's like something happens to you in your life and you're
Mhm.
like, oh, I never assumed that would happen. Like, for example, let's say you're walking and then you trip. You're not going to think that's going to happen to you, right? So it's very hard to imagine what social media, how it's going to change. Can you think of something where it might change? Our mind cannot comprehend that. I don't think we can only think of what we see, right?
Well, is that right? Like, I know what you mean, of course, but when I teach my students
Yeah.
about sound and the vibration of the and emotions that the sound can uh, transfer to other people, especially in the concert, when you're interconnected with yourself and the music you are trying to really bring out to the public. Uh, I think that the future of social media, we want to know the difference, because we as humans are social beings and we are always going to connect with each other in this way or the other way. We'll find a way. But this brings me to parallel. I played a game that was actually augmented reality, extended reality. Sorry, that's the real word for it. And that game was global. It's one of the famous games, but I'm not gonna commercialize it here.
Yeah.
And in that context, I actually went to nature, and I went to almost all the mountains in Bosnia and beyond
Yeah.
to actually play the game. And in that sense, and we had social media, they had chats, etc., etc. I think the future is holographic in that context, and that we are going to see real difference between what is actual material, you know. And that brings me to the first sentence. The wind, we all know it's there. It's one of the forces of the nature, the
Yes.
air, wind.
Yeah.
And we can't see it, but we can feel it. When we
Yeah.
think of the wind, we visualize it, you know, and
Yeah.
everybody has their own way to visualize it. I think so.
Yeah, we all for the win. We always have like a picture of it. It's like a circle. That's
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah, it's like
exactly that.
we
Circular.
can't see win, but yeah, but we can feel it. You know, it's yeah.
And I think with social media, it's going to be the same in a distant future, but maybe even now, because there's so many different technologies, experiments with technology. And
Yeah.
that's something I think it's really important to experiment, so we know what can be utilized to. I think that humans need to be the center of the being. That's my way of seeing general things, and I think social media needs to go that way. And all of us, all the people on the planet, currently and the future people, we need to think about it, because there is always things go wrong. As you said, we walk and trip and break a leg, God
Yes.
forbid. You know
Yes.
what I mean? But that's why we need to have mechanisms. And also with social media, it has to be educational and in growth mindset. You know, I think that's the future in the meaning of social media. But in terms of actual technology, I think it's holographic. You know, like virtual metaverse, not per se metaverse, but that context, and the lasers and the immersiveness of all of it.
You said
With all-
lasers? Wow. Okay.
yes, like different lights, you know, that can utilize different mental states of seeing stuff that
Yeah.
are actually there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so when you think of social media, you always think about how to get people together. Basically, it's socializing people in a way together, right? And then
Mhm.
with the online aspect, it might be another website. But I think we humans, I mean, since '97, so I think it'll be what almost 30 years
Yeah,
since the internet has been available on. So it'll
yeah,
be
public. Yeah.
about approximately, maybe more. I don't know. Maybe they had some other DOS probe, but to the public, at least from what I remember, from being in seventh grade, '97. So that's when I remember. And so I think maybe people want to get something out of it or different. Something to make it a little bit different and change it up a bit.
Mhm.
Because using sometimes the project all the time, you want to change it up, you want to find something. That's why there's so many ways of calling. There's WhatsApp, there's Telegram, there is
Spectrum.
Skype. Yeah, people get really they want something new and then to change it up. But if you actually go back to the nature, right? If you go back to the woods, go back, that doesn't get boring, right? Because you're with nature, you're outside. Take off your shoes and just sit in the soil in the grass. That's natural, right? And you feel this energy. But then with the technology, it's always going to be boring. You want to change it up a bit, right? It's not going to be. Let's say it's like, oh, do I want to change my hair today, or do I want a different shirt? And do I want to change the background to make it? But
Yeah,
with
I know what you mean.
naturally, it's kind of different. So it's with that aspect of it, that's
There are
where
so
we're
many
at.
layers
It
in
is.
it.
It is so many layers. Yeah, we'll probably do a few more minutes here before we end this here. It's such a pleasure. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. I know we didn't talk about it. What do you do? You're in Bosnia. A little bit of. I know you're in the music business, right?
Yeah, well, I'm an artist in general sense, and
Artist.
my tool of experiencing the art is piano. I actually played piano before I spoke. They say I can't remember. I was 2 years old, and I come from music family as well. In that context, I was born here in Bosnia, and you know, being here, growing up here, and educating through all contexts of education, I saw so many beautiful things, like fantastic, and so many not so fantastic things, and that made me an active part of this society in as a whole, European society and Eurasian society and Mediterranean especially because art always connected me with other people, and other people were connected by arts, and that brought me to being one of the social activists and human rights activists for during my high school and academy years in context of education, because we have fantastic laws here in Bosnia for education, but they are not really utilized in context that people that should know how to utilize it. And I think that people, students, on the first place, we don't know what we must do to have our rights. And that's when I was really active, and I was representative for the arts group at my university, and I participated in so many international projects. I also play every year. I collaborate with other different instruments, and I organize international piano competition and to talent seek and to bring the world to Sarajevo here. Because Sarajevo is one of the most beautiful cities, in my opinion, not because I'm here, but because I was raised here or live here or work here. But we have that interconnection with the nature. I'm in the city center right now in this building. It's Cultural Heritage Building. And in 10 minutes, I can be in the wilderness, urban and wild. And I can be in one of the primal forests.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I was gonna say, yeah, real quick. I've been there. It's beautiful. Sorry, but everybody, if you guys get a chance, go. Yeah, the heart of Europe is beautiful. Go continue. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically it. And I work things when you like things. And as I mentioned, I have my luck that my work is my hobby. So I don't see my work as a work. Yeah. I see work as a platform to really build up myself and experience stuff and experiment with stuff, with various educational things, especially with these new technologies, because things need to change. But also we shouldn't forget ever the histories of the world and how the history affects us culturally, because every culture in the world is interconnected in a way, especially through music. And that's what I love with all the young people here and a little bit older. We are all aware of it, and that's the beautiful thing. We are speaking the universal language, musical language, and rhythm language through our tools that are piano, violin, dance, whatever. And that is something that is really in recent years blooming in the context of explosion of creativity, and that's really beautiful thing. I see that. Not many people see it. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of problems. But, if you focus on the bad things, we're never going to change it. But I think step by step and building up things, not making revolution in that context, except internal revolution for being aware of things. But we can change whole societies for better.
You're right. Yeah. And then that's another topic we can do next time about music, because music does bring people together, right? They always say music, food, and drinks, I guess, bring people together, right? Those are the three things. If you have that, doesn't matter. You always forget your differences, and then it's politics and religion that tear you apart. Well, actually, when you're supposed to be eating and drinking together, you can discuss your different religions and different political views together in a peaceful way, right? That shouldn't affect anything. And our friend, Mr. Matt here, who is the king of kudos, we're gonna shout him out again. Social media social benefit networks, and we gonna do a show. We're gonna do a show with you probably later on, Mr. Matt. He was doing a show like 2 times a week, all the time. He's the most popular guy on. He's the king. We're gonna call him the. I know Don is the king. Matt is the second one. So he's the second. Matt is there, the vice king.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll definitely do another talk with the topic of music and bringing people together. That's definitely an awesome talk. And I think we're heading the 35-minute mark here soon. It's been a pleasure here. I don't want to overdo it. I do have another meeting coming up at the hour. It was my pleasure. I'm going to put you in the waiting room for a second there. I'll do the ending closing, and then we'll chat in a bit here. So give me a second here.
Thanks, everyone. It was nice being on the Omar show.
Awesome. I'll put you there. All right, guys, it was a pleasure for you to join us, and it was a pleasure to have Mr. Ivan on the program today. He was an awesome guest. This was my fourth session. Like I said, next week I have a young lady named Roxanne. We work together, and she has a lot of motivations. She's starting her own LLC company. She started called, I believe it's Evolution. She'll tell us more about that next Friday at the same time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 Pacific. She has a lot of ideas. She's starting her own business, and I just love her idea, what she's going to be doing. She's coaching, and she's a new entrepreneur basically, and that's going to be interesting for you guys. And she's Latin American, and so that may be something that people can relate to, right? And so that would be something interesting. So, guys, I want to thank you again for being kind to my guest, Ivan, Mr. Ivan here. He's from Bosnia. He's my fourth guest of this live session. You can catch all of them. I've had guests from Indonesia, Africa, Americas, and now I've done 4 continents, trying to do South America as well, and pretty much everyone. So that's an awesome thing. Thank you guys for attending. You can watch the replay. Mr. Ivan we will have a good session. See you next time. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, doctor, you're joining us now, but we're about to end the session now. Thank you, guys. You can catch the replay, and we guys will see you next week, same time, with my new guest from Atlanta, Georgia, next week. Take care, guys. Good. Take care.